The mirror orchard. They called it an orchard, though no fruit had grown there in decades. Trees stood in rigid rows on the slope of a forgotten hill, gnarled and silver-barked, their branches bare even in summer. Beneath each one hung a mirror, some cracked, some clean, swaying gently even when the wind was still. Locals said the orchard had been planted long ago by a man who wanted to remember everything. Others said it had simply appeared one year after the longest winter anyone could recall. Elias arrived just after sunrise. The mist hadn't lifted yet, and the hill looked like it had been drawn in charcoal. He was a botanical archivist, sent by the university to catalog whatever was left before a new road cut through the valley. What he found didn't belong in any textbook. The trees weren't native. Their leaves, where they existed, were thin as vellum and shimmered with a sheen not unlike old film stock. And the mirrors, they were not ornamental. Each one reflected something different. Not the present, not the hill, not even Elias. Some showed doorways. Others, long tables set for meals that never happened. A few pulsed gently as if the glass were breathing. One mirror, larger than the rest, showed a child's room, its mobile still turning. Another showed the back of Elias's own head, though he stood nowhere near its line of reflection. He touched nothing, just walked, listened. The orchard had a silence that wasn't quiet. It was thick, like a closed library, or the breath held in before a verdict. His boots left no marks on the moss-covered earth. The air smelled of iron and damp stone. At the base of one tree lay a book, leather-bound and sealed shut by time. Its pages, when pried apart, were covered in pressed leaves, each labeled in a script that moved slightly when not watched directly. Elias tried to copy the shapes, but his pen stalled. The ink refused to flow when he looked at the page. He camped near the southern edge. Each night, the mirrors shifted, though the trees did not. Some turned to face him. Others turned away. Reflections changed. One showed his tent from above, another his face while sleeping. Once, he saw himself wake up before he'd actually moved. By the fourth day, he stopped cataloging. He sat beneath the trees and watched. Some mirrors showed people, but only in motion. A woman turning her head, a hand lifting a cup, an old man closing a door that never opened again. None of them noticed Elias, even when he whispered, even when he wept. The orchard began to lean inward, not physically but perceptually. The horizon curved. Distances lied. When he tried to leave, the path changed behind him. Landmarks rearranged. He returned always to the tree with the child's room, though now the mobile had stopped spinning. One morning, he awoke to find a mirror hanging just outside his tent. It was small, handheld, old-fashioned. His own face looked back, but not quite. The eyes were too still. The background was wrong. Behind his reflection stood rows of trees he hadn't reached yet, or hadn't dared. He followed them. The further he walked, the less he recognized. Trees grew closer together, mirrors larger. Some had curtains drawn across their surfaces, rippling without breeze. One was entirely black, save for the shape of someone standing very far away, unmoving. He reached a clearing where no trees grew. Only a single mirror stood there, taller than any doorway, its frame made of root and bone. In it, Elias saw himself kneeling, older, worn, pressing his palm to the glass from the other side. He turned away. When he returned to camp, the tent was gone. In its place, a single tree, silver-barked. At its base, a mirror the size of his hand. He did not touch it. He only sat, notebook open, watching the orchard remember. Days passed, or weeks. His beard grew. Shadows stretched longer. Sometimes he forgot his own name, but not the shapes in the mirrors. Reflections multiplied. Some showed stars. Others, fire, faces, fingers reaching from the dark. One showed his mother's kitchen, empty. Another, the door to his childhood home, ajar. At night, he dreamed of a man planting mirrors instead of seeds. Each grew into memory, swaying from branches that forgot how to die. The orchard had no harvest. It only gathered. Sometimes he would speak aloud, not to anyone, but as though the mirrors might answer. And occasionally, one would ripple in response, offering not a voice, but an echo of something lost. Once, he asked where the original planter had gone. A mirror showed a man walking into snow, never turning back. Other times, Elias would close his eyes and listen. The orchard made sounds now, subtle, layered. Wind through memory, not branches. A cup placed gently on wood. Footsteps on a staircase that no longer existed. Laughter, brief and unfinished. He found a mirror half buried in the moss. It was warm. It showed a street he did not know, but something in him stirred. A cafe. A woman reading. A dog tied to a lamppost. He sat with it for hours, until the image faded into ash and trees. One evening, he woke to find his notebook writing itself. Lines formed without ink or hand. They weren't his words, but they were in his voice. One entry read, "I have always been here." Another, "The orchard doesn't remember what it keeps. Only that it must." He began to understand. The orchard wasn't collecting lives. It was holding tension, waiting for something to complete. A sentence never finished. A goodbye unsaid. A moment someone wished to keep forever, long after it should have passed. And now Elias, a man sent to archive flora, was archived too. Not consumed. Not erased. Simply kept. One day, a young woman stepped between the trees. She wore a backpack, her eyes scanning the orchard like someone seeing a painting from childhood. She held a notepad and a field recorder. Her boots were clean. Her breath short with wonder. She paused at the tree that had grown in place of Elias's tent. Touched the bark. Looked down. A mirror, small and familiar, winked up at her. In it, she saw a man watching her from far away, seated beneath a tree, as if waiting for her to speak. She didn't speak, but she stayed. That night, the orchard adjusted its breath. And Elias, though he did not stand, felt something change. Not release, not rescue, but the continuation. A new witness. And still, the orchard breathed. Not haunted, not cursed, just full. Too full to forget anything more. And Elias, somewhere within its mirrored folds, was remembered too.